What if the most famous lost treasures in history weren't just lost? What if they were made to disappear on purpose, guarded by deadly secrets and clever tricks designed to lead adventurers to their doom? For centuries, we've been fed stories of unimaginable riches just waiting to be found. But the truth is a lot more sinister. The hunt for these fortunes has wrecked lives, bankrupted countries, and left a trail of bodies. We're asking why they were never meant to be found at all. From the shimmering golden mirages of South America to the stolen wonders of a war-torn Europe, the pull of lost treasure is something we all get. Who hasn't dreamed of tripping over a pirate's chest or a forgotten king's ransom? But some treasures are different. They're tangled in legends so dark and mysteries so deep, it's like they're actively fighting back against being discovered. These aren't just tales of bad luck or expeditions gone wrong. These are stories of deliberate deception, of curses that actually kill, and of secrets so powerful, people will do anything to protect them. So, forget what you think you know about treasure hunting. We're about to explore why the world's greatest lost treasures will stay lost forever. The Golden Lie. El Dorado. You can't talk about lost treasure without talking about El Dorado. For almost 500 years, the thought of a lost city of gold, tucked away deep in the Amazon rainforest, has lured both the greedy and the brave. The whole thing started with the Spanish conquistadors. They heard stories from indigenous tribes about a king so rich he'd decode himself in gold dust and dive into a sacred lake as an offering to the gods. This one image kicked off centuries of violence. Countless expeditions, packed with men dreaming of golden temples and emerald-paved streets, marched into the jungle. They were met with starvation, disease, hostile tribes, and the brutal wilderness itself. Thousands died chasing a ghost. They were looking for a city, but what if the legend wasn't about a place at all? Modern historians and archaeologists now believe El Dorado was never a city. It was a ritual, a ceremony the Muisca people performed at Lake Guatavita in what's now Colombia. The story of the Gilded Man was real, but the City of Gold was a fabrication, a misunderstanding, or maybe a deliberate lie. Think about it. What better way to protect your land from violent invaders than to send them on a wild and deadly goose chase? You play to their greed with a story that has them chasing shadows in the most dangerous parts of the jungle. The El Dorado legend was the perfect defense. It sent the Spanish away from the real Muisca villages and straight into a green hell that many never came back from. The treasure wasn't a city of gold. The treasure was the story. It was a weaponized myth that has guarded the Amazon's secrets for half a millennium. The reason no one else ever found El Dorado is because they've even looking for the wrong thing. They want a city, but the real treasure was the lie that keeps them looking forever. The Vanishing Wonder. The Amber Room in the 18th century, a masterpiece, was born. A room so stunning, it was called the eighth wonder of the world. This was the Amber Room, a chamber made from over 6 tons of amber panels, backed with gold leaf and decorated with priceless mosaics and mirrors. It was a gift to the Russian czars and the prize of the Catherine Palace near St. Petersburg. And then it just vanished. During World War II, Nazi forces stormed the palace. Seeing the Amber Room as a German creation, they carefully took it apart, packed it into 27 crates, and shipped it off to Kingsburg Castle in Germany. It was put on display there. But as the tide of war turned against the Nazis, the room was packed up again in 1944. And that's where the trail goes cold. In the chaos of the war's final days, the Amber Room disappeared from history. The easiest theory is that it was destroyed when Allied bombers flattened the city of Kingsburg. It's a neat, simple answer, but maybe it's too simple. Today, the room's estimated value is as high as $500 million, and for something that valuable, a simple accident just feels off. This is where the spookier theories come in. Some researchers think the room was loaded onto a German steamship that was sunk by a Soviet submarine in the Baltic Sea. It's priceless cargo now in a watery grave. Others whisper it was taken by hardcore Nazi officials and hidden in a secret bunker, a salt mine, or a forgotten tunnel. Its location, a secret they took to their graves. But the most unsettling idea is that the room will never be found because someone doesn't want it to be. Whether it's hidden by a secret society of Nazi sympathizers or locked in a shadowy private collector vault, the Amber Room has become a treasure that's too famous to sell and too controversial to show. If it reappeared, it would reopen old wounds and bring up tough questions about the spoils of war. Maybe its disappearance wasn't an accident, but a deliberate move to wipe it from the face of the earth, turning it into a ghost of history forever out of our grasp. The Mountain's Curse, the lost Dutchman's gold mine in the harsh, jagged landscape of the Superstition Mountains in Arizona. There's a legend soaked in blood. The lost Dutchman's gold mine is said to be a place of incredible wealth, a source of pure gold hidden somewhere in the treacherous canyons. But it's a treasure that comes with a deadly warning. The story has a few versions, but it revolves around a German immigrant named Jacob Waltz the Dutchman, who supposedly found the mine in the 19th century and took its secret to his grave in 1891. Since then, thousands of prospectors have tried to follow his trail, and many have paid for it with their lives. People have vanished without a trace, been found dead under mysterious circumstances, or just fallen victim to the mountain's brutal terrain. The official death toll is in the dozens, but local stories say it's in the hundreds. Now, a lot of people write these deaths off as inexperience, dehydration, or just bad luck in a hostile place. But the sheer number of tragedies has sparked a darker theory. The mine is cursed or even guarded. Long before the prospectors, this area was sacred to the Apache people. Legends say the mine is protected by the Thunder God, and anyone who tries to take its gold will face his fury. Some believe the curse isn't supernatural at all, but a very real threat from descendants of the Apache, who still act as guardians of the mountain, protecting a sacred place from greedy outsiders. Think about the message that sends. The legend isn't just about gold, it's about death. Every story of a lost prospector, every skeleton found in a remote canyon, just reinforces the idea that the mountain itself will kill you. It's a terrifyingly effective deterrent. The mine will never be found because the legend around it has become a self-fulfilling prophecy. The story of the curse makes sure that only the desperate or the foolish will go looking, and the mountain, with or without a supernatural guard, will eventually take them. The treasure here isn't protected by a map, but by fear. If you find these buried secrets as fascinating as we do, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. We're always digging deeper into the mysteries that history tried to forget. The riddle in the desert, the Copper Scroll in 1952. While discovering the Dead Sea Scrolls, archaeologists found something that just didn't belong. The other scrolls were on parchment or papyrus and held religious texts. This one was made of pure copper. And when they finally unrolled it, it showed them something incredible. A treasure map. The Copper Scroll is one of the most unique and puzzling artifacts ever found. It lists 64 places across the Judean desert where a massive treasure of gold and silver is supposedly hidden. We're not talking a few coins here. The scroll describes tons of precious metals, a hoard so huge that some scholars think it could be the legendary lost treasure from the Second Temple of Jerusalem, hidden away before the Romans destroyed it in 70 AD. So why haven't we found it? Because the scroll is a riddle that might be impossible to solve. The descriptions of the locations are incredibly vague, mentioning landmarks like the cistern in the courtyard or the Cave of the Pillar, none of which we can identify today. The landscape has changed completely over 2,000 years, and the landmarks are long gone. This has led to a pretty chilling idea. What if the Copper Scroll is the greatest piece of misdirection in history? Imagine you have to protect the most sacred treasure of your people from an invading army. You can't just bury it, you have to make sure no one ever finds it. So, you create a decoy. You write down a list of real and made-up hiding spots, describing a treasure so big it would send any hunter on a lifelong dead-end quest. The scroll is like a historical black hole, sucking in anyone who tries to figure it out while the real treasure stays safe. It's a map that was designed not to be solved. By creating a puzzle with missing pieces, the authors guaranteed their secret would be kept forever. Anyone who tries to follow the Copper Scroll isn't on a treasure hunt. They're walking right into a 2,000-year-old trap. So, are the world's greatest treasures really lost? Or are they just unfindable by design? The legend of El Dorado wasn't a map to a city of gold, but a weaponized myth that led its hunters to their ruin. The Amber Room wasn't just lost in the fog of war, it was probably erased, its existence too problematic to ever be seen again. The Lost Dutchman's mine isn't protected by a lock and key, but by a deadly curse that's become its own terrifying security system. And the Copper Scroll, it might just be an ancient, brilliant piece of fake news. These treasures last not because we haven't looked hard enough, but because they're protected by something way stronger than dirt and rock. Human nature, they're protected by our own greed, our ambition, and our willingness to believe a good story. The tales themselves are the traps. They send us chasing ghosts, solving riddles with no answers, and walking into places we might not come back from. Maybe the biggest lesson these treasures teach us is that some things were never meant for us to find. Their legends are a warning, a reminder that the past is a powerful thing, and some of its secrets are better off left alone. What do you think is the most unfindable treasure of all? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and remember, some secrets are meant to stay that way.